Do you want the good news first or do you want the bad news? The good news is that Bitcoin is still trading around 50K. Markets are looking bullish. Charts look pretty darn good across the board. The bad news is that there's one major fundamental on-chain metric that's showing a wild divergence with this bullish price action. I'm going to take a look at that as well as the Bitcoin and XMR charts and all the news that's driving markets today. You don't want to miss this. Let's go.
Let's go.
What is up, everybody? I'm Scott Melker, also known as the Wolf of All Streets. Before we get started, I have to ask you to subscribe to the channel and to go ahead and smash or punch or tap or smush or gently tickle the like button. I still don't really know how you smash a like button. That sounds like something that you do to your first girlfriend in high school. Something from the Jersey Shore, the smush room. You don't do that when you grow up. You gently caress the like button. So go ahead and gently caress the like button. Now, as I mentioned before, there is a lot to look at here on the charts. I'm going to look at Bitcoin and XMR. But before we get into that, I want to remind you I'm giving away $5,000, 10 $500 prizes in Bitcoin and Ethereum. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel. And down in the description, you'll see this link, which you can check out. Go ahead, click there, do one of these things. It's really easy, really quick. I want to give back to the community and build more of a community here on the channel. I used to do giveaways all the time, and that's something that I intend to continue doing. Now, look, as you can see, the market is a bit flat today, right? Bitcoin down about 2%, Ethereum down 1%, everything kind of within 5%, even less. Not much happening. Of course, Solana up a little bit, but Luna is pumping, but generally we're seeing a really flat market. It seems like there's a lot of anticipation of what's going to happen with Bitcoin. Well, first, let's take a look at the weekly chart. I do this all the time. When in doubt, zoom out, always start on larger time frames. Well, we've had 5 weekly candles that are green, in my case, gray in a row, bouncing off the 50 MA, breaking through key levels. And as I said for a long time, 50,493, this 23.6% fib retracement, that's of the entire move up from 3,800 to 65K. That's going to likely be strong resistance, and we're seeing that right now. Listen, it would not be strange to get a bit of retracement after 5 weekly candles in a row. We've gone from basically under 30,000 up to 50,000 in just 5 weeks. Absolutely beautiful. And without one huge candle on any given day, right? It's just sort of steadily been grinding up, which I love. Now, looking at the daily chart, we flipped this key new level of 48,190. You can see that was the resistance, the top of this move before the retracement. That's flipped to support. We had to test 2 days as support. So we'll see if that holds. That'll be interesting. If that doesn't, then of course we start talking about the 200 MA, which seemingly the whole community was talking about once again. And then still that potential drop down to the 42 area, which still has not happened. That would be a very strong signal to see the 40 to 42 area tested as support. Sometimes you'll want to go down a little bit before you go up. It shows strength. It gives a test. You want to see key levels tested. I'm not saying we need it. I'm not saying it'll happen. I'm just saying don't start panicking if price is at 44 or 43 on the way down to that 40 to 42 area to retest as support. Now, interestingly, looking in here on the 4 hour, this is about as far as I generally zoom in. I'd shared this descending wedge breakout. You can see this 48,190 level here, but now we've actually formed this perfect ascending channel here, right? Touch up, up, down, up, down. To confirm any channel, any range like this, technically you want 2 touches up and 2 touches down, alternating, not in a row. So we have up, up, those are together, those are in a row, but then we do have up, down, up, down. There's a confirmed channel. Now, this can go up, this can go down. It is not a bull flag. I've seen people already calling it a bull flag. A bull flag has to be descending after the top of a move. A bear flag is ascending like this, but at the bottom of a move. So this is neither a bull or bear flag. It's just an ascending channel at the top of a move. Most people would expect this to break down and retrace a little bit, but that could literally just be down to the 47, 48 range. Or an ascending channel can just turn out being a stairway to heaven. And in bullish moves, you kind of continue to climb up and you see ascending wedges and ascending channels broken to the upside quite regularly. So that's my look at the Bitcoin chart. Really not that much happening. We'll get into those fundamentals I discussed in a moment. Looking at the XMR chart, I happen to be scrolling through charts. I don't know why I opened Monero and I saw this. Well, it was down here when I opened it this morning and now it's already moving a bit. This is XMR on the Bitcoin pair. As you can see, we have this sort of key descending resistance right here and price has broken it retested it as support on slightly increasing volume. That's a really good sign. Now, if you're wondering what that bigger line up top, let's zoom out. I was going to look at it on the weekly, but it's not there. But you can kind of get an idea that the main bigger trend is there, right? That bigger line right there. So maybe we pop up into that. I mean, if you zoom out on the weekly, you can see that there's even a bigger trend that would be starting all the way up here. But we're going to just continue looking at the daily, and this looks really good. This should be traveling up on the Bitcoin pair back to the top of this line. So 0.009012, almost a 50% move from this level. Looking at it on the USDT pair, even more interesting potentially here, right? This is obviously a very, very key resistance, sort of the swing high of this entire move. We have this ascending support. That's what I would be watching to hold a support if you were trading it. And it breaks down, maybe your stop losses are dependent on this ascending line. You put them comfortably below. You never put it right at the line. You never put it right below. You want to catch that wick. What I like about stop losses below ascending lines is that as price continues, you can move your stop loss up and eventually lock in those profits. But what we're looking at here is a break of a key level. Now, listen, this closed slightly above. So this technically does count as a break and retest, right, at 316. That should take us up to 390. Listen, you can move this line around at your will. 404, 390. It's this area, right? A line is an area. That should take us there. If that flips, we'll start talking about the highs again at $519. Either way, we have nice higher lows here happening, and now we are making a potential higher high here and breaking through a key resistance. XMR, the one that jumped out at me when I was looking at charts this morning. Do with that what you will. It's a setup, not a signal, but it looks like it could see some continuation now to the upside. Now we are going to dig into Z News. I hope you guys are enjoying this new structure, these 8:30 a.m. EDT live streams where I kind of do it quickly and do what I was going to do with the recorded video, just more timely and, without a delay on the charts or the news. So first we have Bloomberg talking about Bitcoin. I always love that. Cryptocurrencies are coming back from the brink. Here's why. Bullish sentiment and even more mainstream acceptance are giving the space a boost after summer low. They go through a lull. They go through a few things. Basically a positive shift in sentiment. Mainstream is coming back. Institutional investors are coming back. Hash rate signals. Obviously, hash rate is rising once again. Why? Well, because China went offline and all that hash rate is coming back to other places. So that's bullish. Keep your eye on Jackson Hole. They're basically talking about what Fed Chairman Jerome Powell will say in the next meeting, his speech, because if the Fed chairman says one word in the wrong direction, all global markets crash. Well, maybe in the future, we could see a chance where maybe in 7 years, or 6 years, we could see a raise in interest rates, market crashes. It's so stupid. I talk about this all the time. We hang on the words of one man to see what all global markets will do based on what he thinks might happen in a year or two, that they could raise rates or drop rates without any definitive action or movement. So stupid, but we are looking at Bloomberg. So of course they believe that could have effect on Bitcoin price, more mainstream and Main Street interest. And of course, where to from here? The answer probably, as we know, is up only. Now, I have this video right here. I actually can go ahead and share it with you. So we're going to go ahead and watch what she had to say for a couple of minutes here.
Very much sustainable. I think, what we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks is this crawl towards this 50K mark. This was very much a psychological price point for us to get to. And not just that, Ethereum inching closer to 3.5K as well. One thing that's very different here in terms of the price rise up here versus April, as you mentioned before in the recent 3-month all-time high, is really what accelerated the price rally. Here in this last weekend, we saw a lot of at-the-money call option buyers come in and accelerate that price point beyond the 50K. What we were seeing in April, and we're not necessarily seeing today, is leverage. And so you're not seeing as much of these levered longs as well as, funding rates are marginally positive. You're seeing GPTC is still at a discount, and you're seeing levered call option demand still at lows. And so really, I think the narrative here is that there were few notional wallets that, were able to move this price point beyond that psychological 50K point. That being said, if you look at what I consider just the major statistic is really the cryptocurrency dominance. If you look at Bitcoin dominance, you compare it to Ethereum dominance, Bitcoin at lows of 40%, Ethereum nearing highs of 20%. Really, that narrative is reflected across the institutional investor that we see today. And that's really this excitement across Ethereum and across, protocols where there's measurable cash flows. And so, it's very much, this diversification across these different protocols.
Now, you run institutional coverage. What are the risks to the current run? What could derail this, given the drip dropping, for example, of regulatory signals we're getting from the SEC?
Boo.
Yeah, that's a great question. Listen, at the end of the day, institutional investors want clarity around cryptocurrency. And so, regulation is very much top of mind. As you had mentioned, I think previously last week, Gary Gensler and his statements around DeFi, this is something that we're all excited to see what direction the SEC goes in. And, we're going to work together with that and those requirements. And I think it's exciting for institutional investors. Again, there's a lot of people who still cannot access.
We lost the sound there, but okay, what's messing me up now is this is really the first time I watched this entire video, and Aya and I have the same but reversed haircuts. Same but reversed haircuts. I don't really know what to think about that, but I'm just going to roll with it. But yes, listen to what she's saying here. Very key point. There's not as much leverage in the system. The reason we saw those massive drops from like 60,000 to 50,000, 10 billion liquidated, 1 million individual accounts on that drop was leverage. Price has gotten back to this point without the leverage. And there was massive leverage in the system when we were at 50,000 last time. So that is hugely bullish in my opinion. Also interesting to hear her talk about the increasing role of Ethereum, right? Institutions are looking at Ethereum, and now because we have total value locked in Ethereum and we can look at a lot of more fundamental things, it's much easier to actually defend the value of some of these other assets probably than Bitcoin, who people view as largely speculative. So really interesting here. I just don't know why she stole my haircut. Okay, next, here we go. Bitcoin transactions at historically low levels despite bullish price outlook report. This is what I was talking. Oh, she's still here. Like, bye, lady. Peace. See ya, Aya. Bitcoin transaction at historically low levels despite bullish price outlook. This is what I was talking about as the quote unquote bad news, although I don't necessarily view it as such. Long-term holder supply recently hit an all-time high, but transaction volumes are stagnant. In fact, transaction volumes on the Bitcoin network are near historical lows. They were referencing Glassnode, so I pulled up the Glassnode weekly report here. Listen, there's a long report, but we can look at this part. On-chain activity remains divergent. In what continues to be an amazing divergence, on-chain activity still has not responded to positive price action. Entity-adjusted transaction count remained at historically low levels of between 175 and 100 and 200K transactions per day. These low levels have been seen in a few instances in the past 5 years. You can see the chart down here. The 2016-17 bull market, but that was the disbelief rally and in deep mid-bull pullbacks. The 2018 to 19 bear market, yikes, and the current period following the 50% correction. So we've seen the drop in price, but we have not seen transaction activity catch up. So the bearish view of that is this isn't a real rally. It's not supported by the metrics. The bullish view is it's going to catch up, right? That this is a signal that, wow, price got all the way here without the transactions. Imagine when they revert to the mean, come back up and price goes up. So it's really a function of how you view these on-chain metrics, what you take away from it. But it really is interesting to see that we are at basically this area, besides here, is historical lows for transactions per day, even though the market is worth so much more. And at this point, I can't roll my R's, so I have to do the horse face thing. Tether starts printing again after 2-month pause. The issuer of the world's largest stablecoin has minted 2.3 billion new USDT tokens since the start of August. A lot of people say that this is the money printer going burr, but we know it is not the same thing. That is a misnomer, and those people are just haters who don't understand the market. Tether, whether you like how it's backed or not, is backed. There's money behind this. It is not the same as Fed printing, which is literally you just throw some unicorn dust and fairy tales or whatever on top of a spreadsheet and money appears. That's how the Fed does it. This is actually backed. So what this means is that there's more demand for Tether. More demand for Tether is a result of more price action, more volume, and more interest in the market. We saw how slow the summer was, right? I mean, even trading volumes were down 50, 60, 70% from May to July, August. Well, now as we see those things increase, people need stable coins. That's all discussed here. From a supply demand perspective, as crypto prices go up, more stable coins and fiat, are needed to buy the assets and expand the total market cap of crypto. That's from Gary Pike, Director of Sales and Trading at crypto services firm B2C2. And he told that to CoinDesk. More printing is not a way to artificially inflate the market. It is a signal that the market is growing. Nickel Digital sees growing UK institutional demand for crypto assets. The firm found that over half the institutional investors surveyed plan to increase their crypto asset exposure. We've seen much bigger numbers actually in the Fidelity survey that was just done in the United States, where I reviewed that, I think yesterday, 70, 80% saying they need to get into it. But still, of the 23 wealth managers and other institutions asked, 11 said they will add to their exposure, with a further 6 saying they will dramatically increase their exposure. The managers oversee a total of $66.5 billion in assets. Not even 100 billion, dude. We're talking to $1 trillion asset managers in the US, but they already have some exposure. Bottom line is that in general, we're still seeing an institutional trend towards more adoption of crypto assets, and they all know that they're going to have to do it whether they like it or not, or miss the boat. Europe prepares for first Bitcoin futures launch amid US ETF stalemate. There is no sign of an ETF launch approval in the US as yet, with Europe soon to see a pioneering Bitcoin futures project. That's a little bit misleading. Gary Gensler made a speech very recently where he implied that he would take a very serious look at a Bitcoin futures ETF. Bitcoin futures ETF, not a Bitcoin ETF, but it would function as basically the same. Actually, I just recorded a podcast with Raoul Pal. He talked about this a lot. That'll be out next week, so you can get a better sort of understanding of what that means. But this Bitcoin futures ETF is being approved in Europe. It will trade on Eurex, which is the continent's largest derivatives market. What this means is we're seeing yet again another roadmap for a Bitcoin ETF for the SEC to say, hey, look, this works. We should do this. So I think that this is generally a good thing. And the US is going to eventually fall way behind if they don't get their SHIT together in the very near future. But any ETF approved anywhere and launching is good news for the Bitcoin and crypto market. The US will have to follow soon. And finally, after discussing yesterday the fact that Ether rocks are selling for like, what was $600K yesterday? I think one sold for over $1 million yesterday, a rock. Visa jumps into the NFT craze, buying a CryptoPunk for $150,000. Really, really interesting. So at first glance, this looks like an amazing PR stunt. I mean, you know, they have billions, tens of billions of dollars on their balance sheet. So this is a 0.00007% of their money to buy this. And it's the greatest PR of all time. This is all that the crypto news cycle has been talking about over the past day. Absolutely incredible PR. But if you dig in, you can see that they actually really did a lot of due diligence. They understand the market, and this seems to be a first move into this space. I'm curious to hear what you guys think of Visa. Visa, one of the biggest payments companies in the world, buying a CryptoPunk, a pixelated picture. I don't even know if they shared a picture of it down here. There's one, right? There's a CryptoPunk right there. Visa buying one of those on purpose. It's amazing. I think that CryptoPunks will continue to appreciate. The question is, do you view this as a top signal? Like, does this Visa's coming into NFTs, it's over? Or is this just scratching the surface of mainstream adoption and the beginning of NFTs? I will leave that to you guys to decide and tell me what you think. Now, so listen, with this new scheduling, I'm doing these 8:30 EDT live streams every single day. Every single day, Monday through Friday. Weekends aren't real days. We don't count those. And that means on Tuesday and Thursday, you can still listen to the podcast on Spotify and on Apple at the normal time, but we're pushing back the YouTube release of the podcast to 1:30 p.m. EDT on Tuesday and Thursday. And I will still be doing my other live streams Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1:30 p.m. EDT. We have a lot going on. I am committed. As I said, I love this community. I love you guys. I'm committed to giving you guys more and more and more and more free content endlessly. That is what I'm trying to do here. And to that end, again, please check out the giveaway down in the description. Subscribe to the channel. That's all you guys have to do. And you will maybe you'll get a piece of $5,000 of my sweet Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm also going to do a video on that today so that you guys can see it. Kindly do some giveaways. I'm doing some giveaways. Look. Yeah, she has great eyebrows. Her eyebrows, I mean, I don't know if she's going to start talking, but her eyebrows are much better than mine. I mean, look at that. There's thing of beauty. She has incredible eyebrows. You guys are right. Guys, thank you very much. That is it. Again, check out the podcast. Today's podcast is with Bobby Lee. He sent me his book in advance, The Promise of Bitcoin. It's really good. I've been reading it. That's going to come out today. He also sent me a couple of these ballet wallets that he's doing, which are really like, this thing is hardcore, man. And if you scratch this QR code, it actually has a cent. Not kidding. They made their own cent. It's unbelievable. So, guys, that is basically all we got today. I will see you later. Peace.